so we're going to ask you about quarterbacks.
Awesome. Where are they at?
Yeah, what Scott says he doesn't have this, or he's not going to at least announce a decision until the day of the game. Is there a point where you guys internally want to have an idea of who your quarterback's going to be for week 1?
Whenever Coach Shape's the starting guy, that's the guy that'll take the first snap. I think the biggest thing, both of those guys have been really competing very hard, and they've done a great job. And I think the one thing that's been pleasantly surprising is that the offense and the guys around him support both of them. So whoever's out there, that's the guy that won the position, and we're going to go roll. And the guy didn't win it just has to be prepared for his opportunity.
When there may be a little bit different style of quarterbacks, I know Drew's got the big arm. Does it make it maybe a little bit harder to prepare, knowing that the offense could be a little bit different with the two of them, or is it pretty much going to be the same?
No, the offense is, it's player driven. So the biggest thing about the offense is we want to give everybody an opportunity to make plays. I think the quarterbacks are more similar than what a lot of people would think. I'm not big in labels, but I know they're both great athletes. They both can throw the ball well, and they both can, maintain the offense. So, whoever's out there on the 31st, they're going to give us the best chance to win.
I think during the scrimmage, there were like one completion. I think it was Terrell was 9 for 17, Drew was 10 for 18.
Yeah,
is that close. Pretty much what it's been like the whole camp?
It's pretty close. They've been battling. Like I said, it's been a great battle. They come out today, every day, and they support each other, and they're just trying to get better. I think that's the thing that we set up as an offense is every day let's get better as a team, as a unit, and as a player, and they bought into that. And really, in this system, all they have to do is distribute the ball to the playmakers, and both of those guys can do that.
How dangerous does it make you having two guys that are really fighting for that job all the way through till the last day, the fact that you'll have potentially two starting quarterbacks?
I think it's great. Anytime you can have two starters at the quarterback position, it gives you as a coach a little bit more comfort because you can go to sleep. If something were to happen, you got a guy that's ready to step in. So I think that's really comforting knowing that both of those guys, whoever it is, whichever one isn't the starter, they can go in a heartbeat and still execute the offense. So it's really exciting that way. The way football, there's only one football and there can only be one quarterback, but both of them they're doing a great job of trying to make their bid to be the starting guy.
On the other side of it, the receiving core, who's standing out to you? Are there guys that you really think are improving as camp has gone on?
I really think all of them are improving. If I had to pick out one guy, I'd say Adrian Fleming has been really consistent, from spring ball to the early in the training camp. Jared West has continued to be a leader of that group and making plays. And then Ashton Broyle is really starting to settle down as a wide receiver and really starting to understand the fine aspects of the wide receiver play. And then Jeremiah Cabina, with his vertical speed, I think he's getting more confidence and becoming more consistent as a route runner and a catcher. So I think, they've lost some great talent last year, but I think it's going to be a receiver by committee. And I think as we start going and the guys gain confidence, we're going to have guys emerge that can be go-to receivers.
You brought up Ashton, and that H-back position has some blocking and has some receiving. Do you see him more as a dominant receiver, or will you have some blocking in there?
Oh, yeah, the receiver spot, they have to do everything. They have to run block, they have to catch the ball. I think a lot of things that they put on Ashton from him coming into high school. The biggest thing I told him to do is just be the best player he can be and not worry about the press and not worry about in terms of what the expectation is. Just your expectation should be higher than everybody else, so just go out every day and just grind it out and be the best player you can. And that's what he's done, and he's done a very good job. We all know he's a great athlete, but sometimes great athletes press too much and they're counterproductive. So we've been trying to just get him to relax and just play football. So I've been excited about his development. I'm excited to see him play in a live game situation when everyone's off the field and his natural ability can take over.
You saw Coach Schaefer get pretty fired up in practice today. What have you learned about him as a head coach? I mean, you've seen him as a coordinator the past few years. What have you learned about him these past few months as a head coach?
I think as a head coach, I think the biggest thing that he's shown me is that everything he does, every day he wakes up, it's about the players. He's always thinking about how can we make the players better or how can we make their experience here at Syracuse better. As a position coach, you kind of just worry about your own little pod. As a coordinator, you worry about your own little unit. But I think that's the best thing that he's done, that I've seen, is that every day when we meet, we talk about how can we make this experience for the players better. What can we do to keep stimulating them to get them to tap out on their potential. So that'll be one thing that I think he's done a really great job of.
I know you don't like the guy making the mistake. It's kind of fun as a football guy to see Coach get fired up like that, kind of get on some guys?
Shape taught me how to coach, so that's natural. That's second nature. I've been around him since I've been a young coach, and that's how we coach. We coach with a lot of passion. We coach with a lot of fire. The biggest thing that we tell the guys, we want to be controlled chaos. So when they get out on the field, it's silence, and the game is easier than practice. So we try to manufacture conflict and manufacture stress. So when they get into a game situation, they're calm, cool, and collected.
Now you mostly recruit Florida, I guess it's like your MO, but have you been in the Texas area at all, like where Drew is
I haven't necessarily recruited San Antonio, that area, but I've recruited down south in Texas and helped spot those areas also.
Yeah, I know people say it's kind of like a different world down there in terms of football from even up here. Could you understand it being maybe a little bit of a culture shock for Drew coming up from to where it's all football down south up to Syracuse?
I think Syracuse fans and the football here is good. I mean, I think down south football is more of a culture. It's more you're born into it. You're born and raised to like certain teams and stuff like that. But Drew's done a great job of coming in and being one of the guys. I think that's the best thing that he's done outside of the football field is he's really immersed himself in Syracuse, the fabric of Syracuse, the university, and the players that we have here. And I think that's why his development and his ability to compete for the position has been, pretty seamless, just because he's really become very selfless and really learned from the guys and learned the tradition and learned what it is to be a Syracuse football player, student athlete.